Hello everybody and welcome back to my latest Transport Fever Let's Play video, where I'm picking up more or less at the end of the last episode. I did have a slight issue whereby today when I started recording this Let's Play, despite hitting the button on my ELGATO Stream Deck, the local recording didn't start. So I've rolled back as far as I can to through the various different auto saves, and I've picked up as early as I can. There are a few small changes in the world from when you last saw the video at the end of episode 3. We're here with the little train that could. It's running up and down my passenger line between Berlin, Paris and Nantes. And it's currently ferrying 40 passengers at a time between each of the 3 stations, and it's doing a pretty decent job of it, to be fair. You know, as far as trains go, he's doing a wonderful little job tootling up and down the line. Now, admittedly, his turnaround time is a little bit perhaps on the long side. He currently takes about 14 minutes to do the complete circuit through the 3 cities, which may be a little bit too long for the passengers, and if I want to get more using the line, I'm going to have to speed that up. But we're going to head over here to North America, because what I've done is set up a intercity commuter route between Charlotte and Atlanta, and I've got these lovely little horse carriages, these posh horses as people love to refer to them, the posh horses running backwards and forwards between the 2 cities taking passengers. Now ultimately the ultimate goal will be to have a railway service linking up the cities, but that is a huge outlay in terms of money and finances. So at the moment, these 2 cities being relatively close together, it's actually cheaper to sling a few of these carriages on to a line and let them run backwards and forwards between the cities, which will make me money. It won't make me a lot of money because the carriages can only carry so many people, but the lines will make me money. And that's the important thing to do at the start of the game. We need to get money rolling in, and rolling in quickly, so that when I do need to expand and start to implement other lines and networks, then I'm going to be able to do that. I have had to loan up a little bit, I will admit that. Again, partly because of how the recording screwed up at the start, you won't have seen that. But I have loaned up to get the carriages in place for this route, and also because I'm thinking of expanding and upgrading my train running on the Berlin-Paris-Nantes line and adding a couple of extra carriages to the steam engine, so he can transport more than 40 passengers at a time, which would definitely help me make a little bit more money, and it would also reduce the waiting time, which again will encourage more people to use the rail service, which will then obviously allow me to make even more profit if I'm shipping even more people. And ultimately I'll be looking to put a second train on that line to again further reduce the delays and speed up the service. And I'm just going to obviously keep my eye on the posh horses for the time being. At the moment there are still people that want to walk between the cities, and that's ultimately what I want to stop. I want to be in a position where my lines are more attractive to people, because it's actually quicker for them to use my services than actually take themselves to their ultimate destinations. So again, where I've got people walking between my cities and stuff, I need to try and find the sweet spot with my services where it's probably better for people to take my services. I mean, that Atlanta to Charlotte route currently, it's a 3-minute frequency. So I'm probably in a position where I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, I may need to chuck a couple of extra horses on that line, try and get that frequency down, which would encourage people to use the line. It's the same with all your lines really. The shorter you can make it, the lower you can make the frequency of your line, the more attractive and appealing it's going to be for people to use. That's why my Berlin, Nantes and Paris commuter routes inside the cities, I probably need to chuck a couple more vehicles on each of those lines speed them up a bit. Ideally, I would want those lines maybe to be under the 60-second mark. And that way then I'll be getting loads of people at my train stations for my train to pick up. But at the moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick in another city-to-city road link and basically have Toulouse going into Nantes, and hopefully providing Nantes with a few more people at this end to put on the train. Because I don't foresee myself at this moment in time expanding the railway system into Toulouse, because a train station and the track will be quite an expensive investment. But if I can ship some people from Toulouse to Nantes now via the road, it may encourage them then to take the train to go to places like Paris and Berlin, which again will help make me money. Now I'm going to make sure I sling enough vehicles on this line that hopefully the frequency isn't too great, and I've got enough people constantly on the move that again it's going to help me make some money. Again, we've got the nice little posh horses, look, with their bright yellow carriages. It's time to signal that they are an out of city commuter service and not an internal one. I can hear chickens. Why can I hear chickens? We've got a couple of posh horses following me. That's alright. What the game does intelligently, if you produce multiple vehicles on a line at the same time, it does try to split them up and space them out. So I think because I've put 6 vehicles on this line, it's sent 3 in this direction with this horse, and it's sent 3 in the opposite direction. So these guys are kind of doing a little circle at the moment just to spread themselves out from the other 3, which should hopefully again help with the frequency of getting passengers about. Now at the moment, this line between Toulouse and Nantes, it basically picks people up from a bus station in the middle of the city, takes them to a bus station in the middle of the city. What I may have to do is tweak the Nantes end a bit so that I take people to the train station first, and then if they don't want to be at the train station, take them back to the Nantes city centre. Because ultimately my goal is that I want to get more people on the train, because when I have 2 trains, to make them cost effective and cost efficient, they need to be carrying full loads of passengers each time they leave a station. There's no point putting, doubling up on trains if all they're going to do is carry half the number of passengers, because you're not gaining anything. You're going to have higher expenses and maintenance costs, and you're only going to be shipping the same number of people. So it's that fine line between, a too rapid expansion and a gradual progression. You've got to kind of set yourself up for the you've got to set yourself up really for the upgrades. Like I say, I could probably get away with 1 train at the minute, but I might need to add a couple of carriages onto him so he can carry more than 40 passengers. Ideally you'd want him to carry about maybe 50-60, closer to 60 perhaps at this stage. I might have to think about sending him to the depot and getting another couple of carriages slung on him. I do like the posh horses, I must admit. Stagecoaches are very nice. And we're not carrying any passengers at the minute, so even the three carts that went off ahead of me, they've not actually collected anybody yet. Frequency looks to be about 4 minutes, which is probably on par with the Atlanta one. I mean, I expect it to be longer, because the route itself is physically longer. There's much more distance between Toulouse and Nantes than there is Atlanta and Charlotte on this map. But again, it probably indicates to me that I could do with putting maybe a couple more carriages on these lines. But you don't want to put, again, I don't want to put too many too early because they're going to cost me money to run and operate and eat into my potential profits. But they're okay, I think. Ideally, I would like to see all my lines going green in the early years of the game. I know we're only in the second year of the game, but the sooner you can make those lines green, the better. Because you want to start building up money. You don't want to be loading up. I know I can borrow 10 million from the bank manager, the wonderful, nice, charming bank manager who never says no until you've borrowed 10 million, and then he says no. But the interest repayments and loan repayments can be crippling. So I only really sort of envisioning loaning up and borrowing money if it's to, you know, do an important upgrade that will quickly pay for itself and allow me to pay off the loan. So I've managed to pick up one passenger. Wow. That's not going to pay the bills. One passenger is not going to pay the bills. And yeah, I'm going to make them so they stop at the train station before the ice. So they go from Toulouse to the train station in Nantes first. So it gives them the opportunity to get off and then take a train if they want to take the train and go to Paris or Berlin. And what's happened here? What's happened to my ballast? It's turned into railway tracks. That's a bit of a glitch. Loading my save has turned my track ballast into railway line. I mean, okay, it's going to have the same effect, the same, you know, functionality. It's going to stop the cities and towns growing in those areas, but it doesn't look as nice. The ballast looked a bit better. That just looks like some idiot's come along and slapped a load of railway track down that doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, so the little train that could is on his way to Paris. I think once he's left Paris, I'm going to try and send him to the depot because I want to upgrade him. I want to stick another couple of carriages on him because he's at his limit. He keeps taking 40. He's collecting 40 passengers every time, which tells me he has reached capacity, and the lines have got sufficient capacity for him that he's always going to have a full load. I want to perhaps try and go beyond that a little bit now, seeing how much I can push. Now I can't seem to get him to go to the depot. Why can't I get him to go to the depot? Probably because of how I've got my track set up. So what I'm gonna do is just buy a second train. I'm gonna need a second train anyway eventually. And I'm gonna put what, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna put 5 cars on him this time. The other one has got 4, hasn't he? I think 4. So yeah, an extra car on him will let him carry 55 passengers. Oh, he's going the wrong way. He's going... Okay, he's going to follow the other one straight into Berlin. So when the little train comes out of Berlin, I need to send him to the depot. Or can... Oh, I can't, can I? My railway lines don't allow it. I need to put a line in from there to my depot. Nope, that's putting down ballast. Let's select the right tool. We want track. I want to do this fairly quickly. Collision, 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 collision. No, that's not going to work. No, that's not going to work. Collision, collision, collision. No, 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 that's not working. Right, let's go back the other way. There. No, collision, 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 collision. Go back. There. Take it. Right, now send him to the depot. He can go to the depot now. I've lost the 40 passengers he was carrying. That's a bit of a shame. But what we're going to do, we're going to upgrade the carriages. We're going to put some slightly larger capacity carriages on him, and we're going to put the same number as we've got on the other train, so they'll both be able to ship 55 passengers, which is a 15 increase per train. And I've now got 2 trains on the line, so I can ship double the number of passengers, which should hopefully enable me to make lots and lots of money, but we'll see. So I put 5 new carriages on him, which each have 11 capacity. Put him back onto the line. He should go straight to Berlin and load up. The other train will be well on its way to Paris at that point, so they'll be a little bit better spaced out. In fact, by the time he arrives in Berlin, I assume the other train will be on its way to Nantes. And it looks like me horses are doing well on me commuter lines. Ish. Atlanta Charlotte is about half full. He's carrying 4 of 8, and the Toulouse line hasn't picked anybody up yet. But it will take time for the passengers to realise there's a link, and then they'll start using it. What I need to do now is make sure this guy, the little train that could, picks up a full complement of 55 passengers, which he does. Good. And then I need to monitor both of them and see how they both go. Passenger carrying. Ideally I need them both to be picking up the same number of passengers each time. Okay, finances. We're not doing well on finances. I have just repaid £1 million of the loan, which will save me some interest. I'm going to call, what am I going to call this train? The second train. I'm going to call it, what am I going to call it? The sister train, I think. Sounds like good, because it is a, well, it's the younger version of the train I started with. I can't call it the little train because I already have the little train that could. Both of them currently carrying 55 to 55 passengers. Excellent. That'll be a nice bit of money going into the bank when they hit their stations, which will be good. I will start to make some profit, and then what I can probably do is invest that money into my commuter lines by slinging on a couple of carriages to try and reduce the frequency and the waiting times on the commuter lines. Get more people to the stations, get more people on the trains. Because ideally what I would like to have is a situation where I've got 3 trains on the line, 1 at each station effectively, at all times, so people aren't waiting. Okay, mate, he's just picked up from Nantes, and he's still got 55 passengers. However, the guy at Paris has only picked up 26. That's not so good. Paris, you need more people to use the trains. I do like a steam train though. I do love looking at a steam train. I love the sound they make on the tracks as well. This is going to be a screenshot moment as well. The first time my trains passed themselves on the tracks. Oncoming trains passing each other. Here we go, signals a go, woohoo! Amazing. And a little toot of the whistle as well from him. He loves it, he does. Signal goes up because he's got the all clear. I'm glad I know how signals work now. That was something that when I did my first live streams I had no end of trouble sorting out the signals and getting trains running on the same lines and the same tracks and everything like that. It was a bit of an issue, but I kind of understand it now, and I can hopefully get trains to go pretty much where I want them to go, dictate which lines they will use and what lines they won't use. So hopefully when I start running more, how many is he picked up this time? That doesn't look so good. Looks like he's only picked... Has he picked up 55 or 16? I can't really tell. It's too small at this moment in time. Those windows are too small in my video editing software for me to read the numbers. Looks like only what... It looks like the train from Paris to Berlin is only carrying 16 people. That's not good. That's not going to make me a lot of money. Okay, let's try and sling a few more people on the commuter lines and get them to the train station a bit quicker. Need to make sure my trains have got plenty of people to pick up. But then this episode will be pretty much at an end. I've done, you know, a little bit of expansion work. I put in a couple of road passenger lines in this episode. I've upgraded my train and added a second one to my main line, which will hopefully then start to make me some money. And then what I plan to do would be to maybe look at America in the next video and maybe putting in a train line. I think I said before New York, Toronto seems to be a good place to start. Maybe New York, Toronto, Chicago as a free city link up like I've done here with Berlin, Paris and Nantes, just to get people used to moving. And again, passengers are a great way to make money early on in the game. They're a lot easier than freight. Freight is something that, certainly on this map, I'm potentially going to have huge problems doing, because there's nowhere really the sort of the raw materials and their respective processing plants are so vastly separated by distance. Some of them are on different, you know, continents practically, that until I'm much later in the game with much higher levels of transport equipment available to me, I'm not going to be able to set up many freight lines. Certainly I don't think before the 1900s I'll be doing any freight lines. I think these first 50 years in the game I'm going to be spent just doing my passenger lines. I did manage to get that freight station connected up. The dock that I was messing around with in the last episode that was giving me the too much slope issue, I had to sadly bulldoze the factory buildings, which was again why I had loaned up at the start of the video, because I basically deleted the entire street with all the buildings on it and then connected it to the... I was then able to do a much more gradual slope down to the dock and put in a truck station ready for when I eventually do start shipping freight. Because at the moment they're not going to cost me anything while they're sitting there doing nothing. They don't have expenses or maintenance costs. But hopefully it will give time for the city to recover and hopefully build some more industry buildings, to replace the ones that I've bulldozed. But yeah, at the moment I'm in a good position. I expect my commuter lines to start turning a profit. I expect the Nantes to Toulouse one to start making a profit in its second year, once it's basically covered its initial startup costs and outlay for the vehicles and stuff. I would hope the internal commuter line that's shipping people around the city and taking them to the train station, I'm hoping that'll start to pick up and let's start making a profit. The trains are making a profit, definitely, and they will continue to make a profit. Hopefully in the next year or two, game wise, they will make more profit, because I don't plan on doing any more upgrades to them or adding any extra carriages to them. So that line isn't going to have anything more than the basic standard running costs and maintenance costs applied to it. So it should be a good way for me to make money, as long as I can keep the passenger numbers high. And as I say, keep making sure my trains have got full loads. If they don't, I may have to start changing the line a little bit and editing the train instructions to make them wait at the station until they have a full load. Because otherwise, again, if they're running up and down the track half empty, they're not going to cover their own costs. I need them to be full. So again, that's something I will probably maybe look at doing in the next episode, but ideally I just want to let it run now for a couple of years. I mean, what is it? It's 1854 now. Probably let it run to 1860 just to see how everything settles down. I'm not going to be unlocking any new technologies or equipment or trains or anything like that before then, I shouldn't imagine. And it'll give the cities a little bit more time to develop and grow. Give me a bit of an idea then to see where I do want to go next. I should think most likely the next video will see me moving into North America. Like I say, the prospect of a rail line between New York, Toronto and Chicago is pretty appealing, quite attractive to me. That's probably where I need to look, because again, if it is as profitable as this line, you want to get it set up as early as you can. And then maybe, like I say, maybe then I can start looking at some freight shipping. But how I'm going to do it to start, maybe by sea to start with. You can ship a lot of goods. It is slow, but the running costs are quite low on the ships. So maybe see what I can ship into Europe with that dock that I've got set up. See what the cities need and want and desire the most, and whether I can get something that they're all in agreements on. Probably, I mean, food is probably one of the important things to start with in the game. Getting food into each of your cities, into their commercial zones, and that encourages growth. Same way as if you can get some kind of, I don't know, construction materials into the industries, that enables, again, growth. Chances of me getting machines at this stage is very low, because I would need planks, steel and plastics, which is something, you know, that's almost 3 separate freight lines all converging together. What I can, like I say, probably food is an easy one to do, because it's basically farm to processing plant to city. Construction materials, that's again an easy route. It's stone to factory to city, and possibly even fuel if I can go oil well, processing plant, city. Those are the basically starting freight options for me, but there's something to look at later on. For now, this video is coming to an end. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all again very soon. For now, thank you all for watching. Remember to click the like button, remember to share the video with your friends, and most of all, remember to subscribe to my channel.